This song I'm going to do is Eve of Destruction, which is an older song, but I have updated it, I think, to reflect more what's going on in this country. I know that a lot of people believe that old people always think things were better when they were younger. In my case, I really think they were better. I happened to grow up in a not very large city. At the time, there was no internet, no computers, no cell phones, no 24-hour news. The news was at certain times, and that was it. You didn't have 24-hour news constantly bombarding you all the time. You didn't have YouTube with, again, with a lot of people bombarding you with political views and religious views and so forth all the time. The only thing that was major when I was still growing up was the assassination of John Kennedy. I was in high school. The principal asked the Board of Education, can I tell the people? Can I tell the kids? They said no. They overlooked the fact that kids had radios at that time, and the word got around, but it was pretty much the end of the day when it did. Prejudice was a problem. I think it's as bad, if not worse now. Now, our town wasn't big. It had one junior high, which was all black. It had one junior high, which was all white. Interestingly enough, the black junior high had a nice stadium. The white junior high didn't have a stadium. It had a kind of a track, but that was it. But what really made it interesting was there was one high school. So it didn't make any difference. All the blacks went to the one high school, all the whites went to the one high school, unless you wanted to pay money and move to go to a Catholic high school, which wasn't that far away. But otherwise, everybody went to the same school. And as far as I can remember, there were no racial fights or anything. People just were there, and that was the time when you went to school and you studied. And I know there were some bad students there, but people got along in general. Now, we did have newspapers, and some people might think, well, the newspapers wouldn't cover all the news, but the thing was, newspapers exist to make money. How are they going to make money? They're going to run articles which are going to attract people, and that includes bad things. And I would read the newspaper. I was, and still am, very much into history. And I can't recall any of the things happening. Our fear at the time was nuclear war. That's what we really worried about more than anything else. What was funny, if you go about sex education at that time, I know it's very controversial now. At that time, the boys saw one movie. The movie for the girls was canceled, and that was it. That was the whole thing about sex education at the school. I really feel that people were more polite at that time. Now you look at YouTube and you see all these Karens and everything. I never saw a person like that in the town I grew up in. I never saw a person like that where I went to college, which was Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. There were no mass shootings when I was growing up. If there had been, the newspaper would have carried it. There weren't any. Now, one thing about Congress, they don't pass anything really on gun control because there's so many people that are so passionate about having all their guns. Well, if you go back in history, at the time the Constitution and the Bill of Rights was written, you had the right to keep and bear arms. Arms at that time consisted basically of a gun that could fire one bullet. And then you had to wait, ram, put the gunpowder in, put the ball in, ram everything down and everything. and then you could shoot it again. Or there were pistols, which had all of one bullet. Nowadays, you get these people with these AK-47s and so forth, and it's no wonder that 10, 20, 30, 40 people are killed at a time. Any right, and a lot of the people forget this, any right has responsibilities to go with it. And if you're not willing to fulfill those responsibilities, you shouldn't have that right. There is no reason in our country at the time that it is now to have high-powered assault weapons, except for those who are enforcing the law and except for those who are in the military protecting the country. There were no school shootings. Never heard of anything like that. Nowadays, you've got all these school shootings, and what you don't tend to hear about is the schools that are closing their libraries, the schools that don't even give books out to kids anymore. This isn't right. But you don't hear about it, and not much of anybody, is really doing anything about it. We didn't have any acts of insurrection when I was growing up. There were, and okay, here's, you can get, okay, I'm just going to say this exists and draw your own conclusions. There were no violent computer games. At the time I was growing up, there were no computer games, there were no computers. Now, by the time I got in college, computers existed, but the thing is that the computers at that time were humongous in size. You had to have them in a air-conditioned room, and you had punch cards that you had to type all these numbers in and really hope you didn't make a mistake on a single number, and run those in order to run your program. Everything's different now. I just think, I really feel that it was a different world growing up. It was a gentler world, and a world where you didn't have to worry so much about, if you sent your kids to school in the morning, would they be alive by the time you went to pick them up in the afternoon? Our own country, it is exploding. Violence flares, bullets loading. If a person is black, a target, sit on a guy's neck and deal death's blow. Forget about the truth, it's something you don't know, but you tell me over and over and over again, my friend. You don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. My blood so mad feels like coagulating. I'm sitting here just contemplating. They try to twist the truth to prevent regulation, and the Congress doesn't try to pass gun legislation. The body count rising, it's so damn frustrating when human respect is disintegrating. Take a look around you now, it's bound to scare you now, but you tell me over and over and over again, my friend. You don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Look at all the hate against those who are gay. Look at all the violence there has been today. You can leave here for 3 months in space, but when you return, it's the same old place. The bullies and the beatings, they are a disgrace. The schools are darkness taking their place. Hate anyone different, but don't forget to say grace. But you tell me over and over and over again, my friend. You don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Don't you understand what I'm trying to say? Can't you feel the fear I'm feeling today? Our society's crumbling, there's no running away. Innocent people being put in their graves. Take a look around you now. It's bound to scare you now, but you